Jai Gurudev. Jai Masters. As usual, we humans, we get things very mixed up. Even with yoga and spirituality. I like to use shock treatment, like meditation, mantras, India. They have nothing to do with spirituality. What has to do with spirituality is something called working on yourself. Those tools you are welcome to use when you work on yourself. It's like a frying pan and a spatula have nothing to do with eating. They have to do with preparing food. They have to do with getting ready to eat. But eating is an act of what you do which is quite distinct from frying pans and spatulas. Likewise, working on yourself every single time, all the time, is what spiritual growth is about. How you go about doing that, what pots and pans and spatulas or instruments and implements you use, that's your business. But the key is, are you working on yourself? Let's talk tonight only about working on yourself, and then you can decide what tools you need in order to work on yourself. Working on yourself is no different than working on a job, working on your car, working on anything. The first requirement is that you have to be present. If you're going to work on a job, you have to go to work. Otherwise, you can't work on a job. If you work on a car, you have to be there. You have to be present to be able to deal with things. Likewise, when you work on yourself, if you're not there, you're not working on yourself, by definition. You have to be present in order to work on yourself. What does that mean to be present? Because that alone is something most people can't do. You live inside. You know you live inside. You should be able to decide how you want anything to be. Not outside, inside. Outside, there's a lot of competition with how you want things to be. There are physical laws. There are other people's desires and hopes and dreams and personalities and psychological problems, etc., etc. So if you want something to be a certain way outside, there's nothing saying you're going to get it that way. And you're going to have to put out a tremendous amount of effort to try to manipulate and control the forces that be out there. There are forces out there. There's physics, chemistry, psychology. There are laws that cause things outside of you to be the way they are. In a given moment, if I put you there in the moment, there's all kinds of things going on. There's cars driving by, there's trees growing, there's people talking, there's all kinds of stuff. If I pull you out of the moment, does all that stuff stop? No, it all goes on exactly the same as if you weren't there. Exactly the same. Obviously, if you're particularly talking to somebody in the midst of 1,000 other things going on and I pull you out, that conversation won't continue. But let's just say you're standing on a corner and the world's going about its business. Clouds are going by and everything. If I pull you out of that moment, it's all going to keep happening. The world is a happening place. You have to wake up to this once and for all. Things are going on everywhere, and there are reasons they are going on, and you are not the reason. Like, the ego wants to resist that. I am the reason. I am important. I matter. You know, you don't, and no, it's not. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. You're standing here in one moment, which is the tiniest, tiniest part of the universe. Like right here. How much of the universe is this right here? That's really funny. There are 700 billion zillion moments like this going on Earth, not to mention everywhere else. You are experiencing what is going on in one of them. If I pulled you out, it would still be going on in general. But more important, if I pulled you out, I guarantee you that everything will be the same with the other 700 billion where you're not. I'm not trying to make you feel little. I'm just trying to let you understand that there are things going on outside because there are things going on outside. There are forces that cause things to be. And the part I try to say to you every time I talk, I fall into this, right? The fact that you all agree that of the hundreds of billions and trillions of other things that are going on in the universe have nothing to do with you, well, what do they have to do with? The forces that are making them be the way they are. There's an orbit Saturn's in, isn't there? What's that got to do with you? Nothing. But it has to do with something, right? There are laws. There are forces that have implemented and gone on through time, And they have caused the rings of Saturn and the orbit of Saturn and Pluto and this and that, and caused roaches to be the way they are. And at any given moment, there's a mouse somewhere. There are reasons that mouse is somewhere. Things happened to it. It got born in a certain place. And then the weather, you hear me? Every single thing has forces that cause it to be the way it is. What do you have to do with those things? Nothing. If there are forces everywhere in the universe making every moment be the way it is, and have always done that, and you're not even there, how can it be that you can make every moment that happens to unfold in front of you be the way you want? Doesn't even make sense, does it? The moments in front of you are going to be the way they are in accordance to the forces that cause them to be that way. All right? So that's what's going on. So the world is not under your control. The world is not going to be the way you want. The world is going to be in accordance to the forces. Are you one of the forces? Yes. Yes, you are one of the 700 billion trillion forces that are causing things to be the way they are. I don't want to take that away from you. But that's all you are, is one of the forces. So these forces are causing things to be the way they are, and you're not going to make it be the way you want. The reason I was talking about this is inside. We're talking about working on yourself. That's called working on everybody else. It makes me laugh. When you decide that the moment in front of you is supposed to be the way you want, you better be good at manipulation. Because there's lots of people out there. They get their own ideas what's going on, don't they? In accordance to the forces that made them be the way they are. And there's forces of nature. What if you decide, I don't want it to rain, I don't want you sitting that close to him, and I want you doing blah, blah, and just make up all this stuff. I better really get to work because I got a lot of work to do. And what amazes me is that's one moment. My God, if I kill myself to make one moment like the wedding day or something, be the way I want it to be, it won't be anyways, don't worry. But if I do that and I kill myself, put it out there, try to make it be that way, of what good was that? Because there's going to be tomorrow. And I didn't work on that. And the next day and the next day. And really it's minute by minute, isn't it? It keeps changing every minute. Am I waking you up? You are not going to get it the way you want. Period. Now inside, now we've talked about outside, let's talk about inside. Inside, any way you want. Period. Every moment, every second, any way you want. There is no competition. You are the only one in there. Is there anyone else in there? Anyone else in there with you? Has there ever been anybody else in there with you? No. You're the only one in there. If anything is going on inside of you, you did it. Why? Because you're the only one in there. If I leave you alone in your home and you make a complete mess out of it and nobody else is there, you did it. However it is inside your head and inside your heart, inside of you, is the result of what you have done. I'm being strong, aren't I? So what is going on outside has to do with the forces of creation that are competing with each other and interacting together to create the moment that's unfolding in front of you. What's going on inside has to do with you and what you've done and what you're doing and what you will do, and that's that. Now, it doesn't feel that way. What's amazing, we got it all backwards. We honestly believe we're supposed to be able to make the moments in front of us be the way we want. You want to know what? It's worse. That's how we're going to make the inside be the way we want, is by making the outside be the way we want. I don't like what's going on inside. I'm lonely. I feel insecure. So I'm going to manipulate you and you to make you be nice to me, and I'm going to win a reward. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to dress a certain way so that I get that to happen so that I feel good inside. We're lost. I told you, nobody could make it more screwed up than we did. The world is easy. It's been going on for 13.8 billion years. Everywhere's. It's going on everywhere's forever, and it's doing just fine. It made you. At first, 13.8 billion years ago, there was nothing but thick hydrogen clouds. You know about that, right? After the Big Bang? Thick hydrogen clouds. Where'd you come from? That. At least your body did, right? So did the trees. Somehow by itself, it took these thick hydrogen clouds and made them into the entire universe. Wow. I think it did pretty good. What do you think? Butterflies, palm trees, Hawaii. It's just amazing. So it did this by itself. It is going to unfold by itself. But we're so messed up that our inside is clean and clear. It's very nice inside. It's beautiful inside. Your natural state inside, what is supposed to be happening, is that you are the consciousness, the awareness of being. You are in there. You are experiencing what's outside. It's like a gift. It goes about its business. It comes in through your senses. That's why you have senses. They're called senses because they sense things. They're like I/O ports on a computer. They pick up things, they sense them, and they send them back to you. What's the purpose of sensing something if nothing's in there to receive it? Why would you bother having a sensor if there's no receiver? You are the receiver. See, some people say the self, the Atman, the soul. I say the end user. Are you not the end user of everything that's going on in there? You are the reason that there are senses. I'm not saying you're the reason there's a creation, but you are the reason that you have senses so that you can sense the magnificent, awesome, unbelievable events that are unfolding in front of you. And they come in through your senses and you receive them. That's what is supposed to be going on inside. You live inside. And you're fine, and you get to experience the awesomeness of the creation that's unfolding around you. You don't get to experience everything. In fact, you get to experience so little of it's embarrassing. How much are you experiencing right now? 0.0000001%. All right? But that's what you get to experience. You experience what you experience. It comes in. Let's spend a moment with this, what it's supposed to be like. It comes in, and you experience it. And you go, whoa, wow, whoa. It's just coming in. There's sunsets, and there's people, and there's men, and there's women, and there's airplanes, and there's roads, and cars, and clothes, and oh my God, there's so many things. And how many types of bugs are there? How many types of flowers are there? How many types of animals are there? Oh my God. It's not boring, is it? And you don't have to do anything. What do you have to do to make there be giraffes? Elephants? Nothing. You don't have to do anything. And all of it is gifted to you, and it is coming in through your senses, and you experience it. You're just experiencing the awesomeness of the creation that's around you. That is be here now. That is the ultimate of mindfulness. You are just present inside, and you are experiencing the awesomeness of what is unfolding in front of you. There's nothing more, there's nothing less, there's no better, there's no worse, there's no good, there's no bad. There's just wow. Wow. Look at him. Wow. He used to be hydrogen atoms, and it made that. Wow. And you're just in awe all the time. And you feel gratitude that you get to experience the awesomeness of what is unfolding in front of you. But that's not what it's like inside of us. Inside of us is a flaming mess. Why? You did it. You moved it from that state of awesome gratitude and enjoyment and appreciation and love and beauty and inspiration. That's what it is. It's unbelievable. Every single day of your life beats going to the finest museum you ever went to. Look at it. Look at the colors. Look at the shapes. Listen to the sounds. It's unbelievable, isn't it? And it used to just be hydrogen clouds. And it made itself into tweeting birds in the trees. Oh my God, wake up. All right? So this is what's going on. And it's free of charge. And everybody's experiencing it. And you experience different things all the time. It's never boring. What are you experiencing? That which is the result of the forces that are causing things to be. There. So next time somebody says, well, why did he do that? Because of the forces that caused him to do it. Well, why would anyone do that? Because of the forces that cause them to do it. Why are there wars? Because of the forces that cause there to be wars. Why are there tornadoes? Because of the forces that cause tornadoes. It's always the same answer. Get out of your head here. I'm not dealing with right and wrong. I'm dealing with reality. The reality is there are forces that... Why is he so mean? Well, his mother beat him, then he went to an orphanage, and he did this, then he broke out, he goes to jail for 3 years, and now he just broke out and he's mean guy. There. Perfectly reasonable. I don't like it. I didn't say that, but perfectly reasonable. There are reasons, forces behind why everything is the way it is, period. So you get to experience them, but that's not what's happening. So I've done this with you before. What has happened is you're in there. It's clean inside. I swear to you. It's crystal clean. It's beautiful. It's like the cleanest, nicest, decorated apartment you could ever live in. And then there's this beautiful show going on, movie that's coming on inside all the time. What happened? What happened is you got caught up in what we call duality. You got caught up in like and dislike. You built inside your head, which is supposed to be clear, you started storing the experiences you've had that you didn't like. Let me just go very slowly here. Did I just tell the truth? Do you store things inside of your mind that aren't going on anymore because you didn't like them? You do, don't you? Well, I'm going to just stop, make it very simple. Take a deep breath. If I took every dirty, filthy thing that I ever experienced, and I did skunk things and dirty things and mud things and cold dirt things, who knows, right? All kinds of gooey, dirty things, roaches too. And every time I experienced something that I didn't like experiencing, I picked it up and I took it into my apartment and I dumped it on the floor. How would my apartment be to live? I'm just asking. How would it be like to go home to my apartment? Fun? Wouldn't that be fun? Especially over time. Well, that's what you did inside. Nobody else did it. The world didn't make you do that. You have free will. And as stupid as it sounds, that's what you did with your free will. In this beautiful place inside of you, this apartment, this vast, beautiful mind and emotion field that you have, when the world comes in and you experience it, it's supposed to pass through. The mind helps you experience things. The emotions help you experience things. Your emotions are like the score on a movie, a play. They're the orchestra playing. When all of a sudden the villain comes in and goes, dun, 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 dun. I mean, it would be like dead if you weren't feeling that. And when something good happens, the Rites of Spring plays. Somebody dies, the funeral march plays. Doesn't that add a lot of richness to your experience in a movie? Ever watch a movie and take the score away? They used to do that in film class. It's dead. It has no power to it. Your emotions are a gift that was given to you so that when a moment is unfolding, that happens. The orchestra plays. So when somebody dies, you feel this deep sorrow and sadness, like Chopin. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's sad, isn't it? I always tell everybody, it took one of the greatest composers that ever lived to capture the sadness and the depth of grief, of death, of a funeral. And it's called the funeral march. Most people don't know that Chopin wrote it. It took a great composer to capture that emotion. There's emotions of all types that go on. They bring richness to your life. Your emotions are not a problem. Your emotions, that's like saying an orchestra is a problem. Oh my God, I can't listen to the dialogue as a stupid orchestra's playing. You would never say that. It adds richness and depth and three dimensions to what you're experiencing. Nobody can talk about emotions this way because everybody has trouble with their emotions. So nobody can sit there and talk about how wonderful emotions are meant to be. When they are working, they are beautiful. They are a gift. Like everything. So when the world unfolds and comes into your senses, as it passes through you, God gave you a gift inside. He gave you a full orchestra that plays in accordance to what's being experienced, so you get the fullness of the experience of what's happening. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Here's what's wrong with it. When it plays a lower vibration, sorrow, sadness, death, loss, when the emotion vibrates that way, you in there have a problem. You're not clear enough to say thank you to the emotion for bringing this richness to the moment that you're having. You don't want to have that experience. I don't like it. I don't want him to have died. I don't want him to have left me. I don't want to have gotten bad news. I don't want these things to happen to me. And because I don't want them to happen to me, I sure as heck don't want to feel them. I don't like that emotion. So you push it away. You do. You have hands in there, don't you? Can you push things around in there? You ever push an emotion away? You push it away. You're using your will, your free will, you have now used to do something very, very interesting. To say, I don't like this emotion, so I'm going to keep it. I don't like these roaches outside. I'm going to take them inside where I keep my eye on them. I don't get it. And so you push these emotions away, the ones you don't like, and you store them inside of you because they don't go away. Here, you had a fight with your girlfriend or a boyfriend, and it was very disturbing, and they were going on a vacation. They were leaving on a business trip for a week, so you can't get it straightened out. So you're really having a lot of trouble inside yourself. So you push all this away. Now, when that person comes back, that emotion's gone, right? It doesn't influence how you feel when you first see them. It doesn't come back up. It doesn't start the conversation again, either to apologize or to make them apologize. Not a chance in the world. When you were 6 years old, you have a twin sister. Your parents gave you special gifts. Bicycles, your first tricycles. And hers was pink, and yours was green. Green. She got the pink one. I want the green one. And you cried for about 3 days. And you never liked the bicycle. And you wouldn't ride with her. And your whole big thing happened, right? Well, you're now 56 years old, as is she. And you're walking down the street together, and someone says, out of my way, and a bike rides by. Can it come back up? Can it bring back a mood? Can it bring back the same disturbing feeling that you felt when you were 6? Wow. I'm being tough with you. That's pretty serious. 50 years? 50 years. Because you couldn't handle it. It was not a vibration you liked, so you pushed it away. I'm letting you tell me that it stays in there. I don't have to tell you. It stays in there in its full glory. And it can come back and make, people say all the time, I feel the same way I felt 20 years ago. I'll bet you do, because you stored it inside of you. So if you do this, your inside is going to be a mess. Why? Because you stored messy things in there. It's like a place. I want you to see your inside as a place. And these things that you pushed away, they would have just passed through as part of the moment that was happening. The orchestra was playing, and there it goes. But then they're playing for the next scene, and the next scene, and the next scene. I don't want them superimposed on top of each other, do you? I don't want to watch a movie on my TV screen and still have the news on right on top of it and have what I watched yesterday going on at the same time. Oh my God, that would be terrible. That would be a lot like what goes on inside of me, because that is what goes on inside of you. It all comes back up and it's jumbly and it's a big mess. And therefore you're not okay inside because of what you did, not because somebody died, and not because somebody left you, and not because somebody yelled at you, and not because you got fired. Those are not why you're not okay inside. While the moment happens, it is disturbing. It is not a comfortable situation. But when it is over, it is supposed to come back to clean, natural. You had a party in your house, bad one, all kinds of stuff all over the place. You clean it up. You don't come and have another one on top of it. Jeez. You come back to neutral, but you don't come back to neutral ever. While you are storing that stuff inside of you, it will destroy your entire life. Every single one of them that you have stored inside of you. The more you push it away, the more energy it has to disturb your life for the rest of your life. Do you want to live like that? And so the answer is, if you do, it's going to be messier and messier and messier and messier inside. And the next thing you know, you can't live in there. It's so messy in there that you're not comfortable. Hardly ever. It's always a little scary. It'll happen again. Or somebody will say something, make it come back up. You know you're sitting on top of Mount Vesuvius. It can erupt at any time, can't it? That's what's going on. Now there's a foundation I just built for you. So now what's going to happen? Now you're not okay inside. It's not that what the world is doing is not okay. It's that you're not okay. And what happens is, if the world unfolds in a way that hits your stuff, which it does all the time, doesn't it seem like it always hits your stuff? If you have one problem, somehow it gets hit. It's because you're hanging it out there. You go to a party, and there's 600 people there, but you don't want your ex to be there. So you start asking around, is he here? Is he here? Like, you just ruined your life. If all of a sudden somebody says, yeah, he's over there, you freak. You did all of this. So you wake up and you realize this stuff you have in there, it is ruining your life and it is running your life. It decides where you can go and where you can't go, and where you're comfortable, where you're not comfortable, and what career you want, and how you see yourself in the future. Every single thing is about how it hits your stuff. Let's talk about this. We talked about emotions. The real emotions, the ones that are meant to be, are that orchestra that plays the background music to the events that are taking place. That is how it was meant to be. Your heart is in tune with the unfolding of reality. If you go and watch Romeo and Juliet, you are supposed to feel sad. The reason you go to the play and you say it was a great production is it made you feel sad and broke your heart. Imagine coming out of it, calling all your friends, oh my God, that was the best adaptation of Romeo and Juliet I've ever seen in my life. I cried for hours. I'm going back tomorrow. You want to come? Well, I don't understand. If that happened to you in real life, you couldn't even talk about it. I don't understand. Either you appreciate and respect the depth of feeling that you feel at that, it's called a tragedy, because it makes you feel that way. There are comedies, there are tragedies, there are dramas. Shakespeare knew what he was doing, and he could bring up those emotions, couldn't he? That's what art does. Art reaches in there and brings up emotions. Music does it too, doesn't it? These are beautiful vibrations that are being brought up in your heart because your heart is able to vibrate with music. It's able to vibrate with drama and things that are happening outside. And that's a beautiful experience, but not when it happens to you and you're not under control. Why are you willing to do it when you go to a play? Because you know it's temporary. If it's temporary, you can handle anything. But what happens to you in real life is these events happen and you think they're going to be there forever. You can't handle them. You can't let them be an experience that you had. You're scared of them. How's that? You're scared of your emotions. You're scared of insecurity. You're scared of self-consciousness. You're scared of embarrassment. You're scared of guilt. You're scared of the emotions. And so therefore, when they start to come up, you push them away. And they rot down there and they get all broken. So the way it's meant to be is not that you don't have emotions. Emotions are a gift. Your heart emanates beautiful vibrations from alpha to omega, from the highest note to the lowest note, doesn't it? Isn't that nice? When was the last time you said thank you to your heart? You play a musical instrument, it has lots of notes, not just one octave. It goes from the highest to the lowest. Your heart does too, doesn't it? Say thank you. Worship it. Appreciate it. Don't push it away and suppress it and get mad at it and say, I can't handle the bass notes or the treble notes, all right? They're all beautiful. But you're not capable of doing that yet. That's the evolution of the soul. Right there. People talk about how evolved a soul he is or she is. I don't like the word evolution of the soul, but that's what it is. The more you are able to handle a wider and wider spectrum of your emotions as they naturally unfold, the less you will push them away. Because there's no reason to push them away. You're comfortable with them. You're appreciating, you're respecting them. If you don't push them away, you are naturally in the here and now. They will be doing what they do in accordance to the harmony of what's taking place. Then the next event will happen, the next event will happen, and you will not be stuck with the ones that you couldn't handle. Do you understand that? Because there are so many experiences that you have every single moment of your life that are not in your control. It's just an unfolding of reality outside of you. Gives you an opportunity to learn every single second how to handle what's going on inside of you. The day that you can handle cleanly the different emotions that get brought up naturally in harmony with what's unfolding in front of you is the day you will be liberated. Because you will not have to do anything about it. You know what you do about it. You appreciate it. It's not that you don't feel the emotion. A spiritual being feels rich emotion. It's that you don't resist the experience of the emotion. It's that you don't have a problem with it. You're able to handle it. You're able to appreciate it, respect it. You use its energy to sail together on its wings to bring you up. It never brings you down. It's a rich experience, just like music or art or anything, are rich experiences. So if you can't do that, which is what we're talking about, then what you end up doing is pushing it away. So it builds up inside, it gets stronger, it gets suppressed, all kinds of stuff happen. And so now you're not okay inside because you made a mess. And now when the world unfolds, and listen to this, it's very important. Now when the world unfolds in front of you, you don't get to experience the natural emotion in harmony with the unfolding of the world in front of you. Because the world in front of you comes in and hits your stuff. So there's this reaction that happens inside. Fear, anger, something that may have nothing to do with what's going on outside. Somebody loves you and cares about you, and they don't know how to carry themselves because they're so blown away in your presence. They start to walk up to you nervously, and you yell, "Help! Stalker! He's going to hurt me!" Because he looked weird. You see a rope, and it's like a snake because you saw a snake before. Anything. Your ex-husband, you see him at a party, you want to run away. He's walking towards you. I did some deep therapy, and I really want to apologize for how I treated you. No, man, that guy come within 50 feet of you, you're freaked. You didn't come in harmony anymore with the moment that's unfolding in front of you. You can't, because when it comes in, you have all this stored stuff inside. It hits that stuff, and now you're experiencing the reaction to your stuff instead of the harmony with what's going on. So now I can't talk nicely about emotions, because what emotions mean to you is the garbage that comes up all the time. All the fear, the anxiety, the self-consciousness, the embarrassment, the fear of rejection. How about this? Do you ever feel fear of rejection when you're interacting with people, including your friends? Do you ever worry about what you said, whether it was right and whether people understood you or whether they misunderstood, whether you hurt somebody? It is so prevalent, this underlying sense of needing to be accepted, afraid of being rejected, that we don't even know we have it. It's something we live with every single second of every single moment. And it's always, if somebody beeps at you, a total stranger, you know what I do? It's just absolutely amazing. We are so broken inside that everything brings up the bad stuff. And so now what we're trying to do is survive inside. So I want you to see the difference between what I'll call a secondary reaction, right? The inner reaction based on your past stuff versus a primary emotion that is pure and clean. Doesn't mean it's all lovey-dovey. It's just in harmony with what's happening outside. It's not in harmony with the garbage you stored from before. Do you see it? Do you see that happens? That the world comes in and hits your stuff? Don't you have a sort of cyclical pattern of emotions? Can you get emotional when I leave you by yourself and nothing's going on? Can you get depressed? Can you get afraid? Well, that is not in harmony with what's unfolding in front of you. Because you're sitting in your bedroom by yourself and there's nothing unfolding in front of you. We have made such a mess storing this stuff inside that even if we're alone taking a walk in the woods, this garbage is coming up, not even stimulated. It just comes up, okay? So what you see as emotions is not what a being who's worked on themselves sees as emotions. An emotion is a natural expression and experience to what is going on in front of you. It is part of be here now. It's in harmony with what's taking place outside. So it's very beautiful. And then when it's over, and it's in harmony with the next thing. And that's it. That's what's happening. You learn to appreciate and respect your emotions. You're not afraid of them. Why would you be afraid of them? You're not afraid of Romeo and Juliet because it comes and goes. You're not afraid of your emotions. They come and go. All right. But that's not what happens. And it doesn't happen because you stored this garbage inside, most of which are your bad emotions. That's why you stored them, because you couldn't handle them. So now you have this uneven, completely disproportionate amount of emotions inside of you that are negative. And you know that. That's why you're scared, and that's why you get depressed, and that's why there's all these problems. All right. Now, I talked about secondary reactions or emotions. Anger, normal anger a person feels is totally one of those secondary emotions. Something's happening outside of you, you can't handle it. It's starting to make stuff come up, isn't it? It's starting to remind you of what Daddy did. This, you have to think about it, but it's just getting uncomfortable in there, isn't it? That's the energy of the stored stuff you have stored in there, not sitting comfortably. Now something is happening outside that is stimulating it, and it's starting to build up. And eventually, it will come up so strong that, and this is exactly what I want to talk about, that you lose your center of consciousness. I'm in here. I see what Mickey's talking about. Yes, I push this stuff around. Yes, the world's unfolding. Yep, I'm in here. Now all of a sudden something happens, and this thing happens inside, and all of a sudden I'm not there. I'm yelling, screaming, throwing things, running away. Who knows what I'm doing, right? Then I come back. Has that ever happened to you? Has that ever happened to you? And then you came back, and it was like, oh, what? We use the expression, she lost it. You don't even think twice about it. What'd she lose? Her pocketbook? Her purse? Her car? What do you mean she lost it? She lost her center. She lost her seat of consciousness. She lost her center of will from which she was able to hold herself together. And this powerful energy of emotion that came up inside, but that's secondary emotion. It's the reactive emotion from all your past garbage that came up. You couldn't stay centered. You lost it, and all of a sudden you're not there. The emotion's there. You're not talking. The emotion's talking. That happens with jealousy, that happens with fear, that happens with all these different things. It doesn't have to be an emotion that comes out and shoots itself out. It could be insecurity. Somebody could draw back and get really quiet and not feel comfortable in the presence of anybody because somebody said something that reminded them of something. They get withdrawn. Same thing. It's all the same thing. All right. From now on, I want you to never, ever miss the difference between a primary, pure emotion that is in harmony with the unfolding of the universe that's in front of you and has nothing to do with your past, has nothing to do with you, it has to do with it. That is pure. But if what is happening is it's coming in and not making it into you because it's hitting your garbage, and now what's coming up are these secondary explosions. When they drop bombs, they always say, I know I hit an ammo depot. There was a secondary explosion. That's what happens inside of you. And no normal event comes in, you're freaking out. It's very funny. Not. Okay? All right. There's the groundwork, because you know that's what goes on. There's two things you can do about this. One, what you normally do is you attempt to protect yourself from it. So you go out there and you try to create situations, different things that don't hit your stuff, or maybe make you feel a little more comfortable with your stuff. People talk nicely to you, a house that makes you comfortable, a new car, something that impresses people, where you do your hair different, get the clothes. I don't care what it is. You're trying to manipulate the outside world so that when it comes in, you feel more comfortable, even though you have all this stuff inside. That's how everyone in this world lives, almost everybody. They are not making decisions for themselves. This stuff they stored inside is making every single decision. If you say, that's my friend and that's my enemy, I know why. Because in that person's presence, they're not hitting your stuff, and in that person's presence, they're hitting your stuff. So it's making every decision for you. That's your samskaras. Those are the patterns that are stored inside of you that you stored from the past that are now determining your future. So the first thing you can do is live a life like that. Back where I started, where you're trying to manipulate and control the events around you so that they fit inside of you without causing too much trouble. The second way is to be very great. Be a great being and stand up inside. This is my kingdom. I live in here. If I made a mess, I'm cleaning it up. It's my mess. I stored this stuff in here. If I stored this stuff in here, I can let go of the stuff I stored in here. I can clean it up in here. I want it to be so clean in here that my heart is working the way it's supposed to. It's playing the tunes in accordance to the moments that are unfolding. It's not afraid of them. It's not this, it's not that. If there's a rattlesnake in front of you coiled up, boy, I hope you feel scared. Because that's what you're supposed to be feeling. That's why that snake's rattling like that, because it wants you to feel scared. And it's a beautiful, rich, oh, wow. It's really a strong, I've seen it, it's a strong vibration that goes on. And when the snake crawls away, it goes with him. And don't stay inside so you're afraid to walk from now on. So when you see a rope, you think it's a snake. When the baby rattle goes, you start getting all weird. No. There's a primary experience, and then it's gone. And then you're experiencing the next thing. And so you can straighten it up in there. And only you can. Nobody else can. You can. You'll get help, but you can do it. How do you do this? One, don't take any more in, because it's hard to get rid of. And two, let go of the stuff as it comes up from the old stuff. That is your entire life from this moment forward, if you understand this. So what you do is you first say, I'm not taking any more in. How do you do that? The world unfolds, it hits your stuff. You change your attitude. Good. 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 I don't want to have stuff. Not I don't want it to have happened. I don't want there to be stuff stored inside of me that freaks me out because the world unfolds. It has the right to unfold. The weather gets to be what it is. People are the way they are. But I need to be able to handle this. So when little things happen, tiny little things, people beep at you, somebody says something, it rains when you don't want it to, just little, stupid little low-hanging fruit. Don't play around with that. It's not a game. Those are your practice shots. Those are when you learn the piano, you play the scales. Don't say, nah, I'm too good for the scales. I don't want to play scales. I'll play Beethoven. You'll never play Beethoven. It's the same thing here. Be willing to work with the tiny little things, as small as can be. Don't play around with them. It matters. Let go. What does that mean? It means the event took place. It's no longer taking place. Therefore, it's not taking place inside of me anymore. That's the rule I try to live by. I am not perfect at it. If it ain't happening outside, it ain't happening inside. Because that's the truth. I want to be present with the next moment. I don't want to be caught up in the one that just happened. So if somebody beeps at you and you get embarrassed, whatever it is, good. That's a freebie. You don't know the person. You'll never see them again. Work through your embarrassment on the beep. Don't sit there and say, oh, God, people are terrible. They're beeping. I'm going to go the other way so I don't have to see them again. Practice letting go. You have to practice letting go. Practice being okay with the emotion that came up. Just start in the simple situations that don't hurt anybody or you. You'll get good at this. People say, I don't know how to do that. Of course you don't know how to do it. You've never done it. You don't know how to play the piano. You don't know how to calculus. You don't know how to play tennis when you first do the stuff, do you? You learn. That's what's meant by working on yourself. Notice I haven't said meditation yet. I haven't said anything like that. You're in there. You're supposed to be in charge in there. There's nobody else in there. But right now all this garbage is in charge because you can't handle it. So when stuff happens, let it go. Let it go. What does that mean? Just relax through it. Relax and release. Relax and release. If you're having trouble relaxing and releasing, if somebody beeps at you, and we're so neurotic, and I'm not judging, all right, we're all neurotic about different things, that it's sitting there saying, well, he had to beep at me. I didn't do anything. What are you doing? He doesn't hear you. It's so funny. You're trying to make it be okay. You're trying to rationalize how you feel about the beep so you can feel okay about it. Catch yourself doing that. Do it at a higher level. Like, for example, the part of you, this lower part that you've messed in there, treat it like you would a child. If it beeps, it goes. Just sit there. Don't say, he shouldn't have done that. Why are people like that? Sit there and look at that part of your being and say, it's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. It's okay. It was just a beep. We're sitting on a planet in the middle of nowhere and somebody beeped at you. I'm okay. You okay? I'm okay. You can do that. It's called working on yourself. Instead of letting it work on you, you work on it. Don't yell at it. I told you once before. Treat it exactly as you would a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum. You work with the moment. You try to raise the moment. Try to teach them, we'll be okay. Maybe you say, look, we can come back tomorrow. If you stop behaving like that, we'll think about it. So you're trying to help the child use his will to let go of the moment he's caught up in. Do the exact same thing with your lower self. You're the higher self. You're the consciousness. Now, what I talked about is you can't do work unless you show up for work. You got to be there. What you're going to find out is that you're in there. Then one of these secondary reactions happens, these habit patterns comes up, and next thing you know, you're not there. And when you come back, you're not feeling as good as you were before you went down. Right? You have moods, don't you? Right? That's why you have moods. So what I need you to do is as follows. I need you to put a very high premium on staying there, on always being conscious, and not anymore losing your center of consciousness and then coming back. First of all, I'm telling you, you are capable of it. Don't you dare think you're not. You are capable of it. But you need to work on it. That's part of working on yourself. So if you're sitting there and you find that when you're walking on the outside on the earth and all of a sudden there's this hole and it's 20 feet deep and you fall in and it takes you forever to get out, it's hard to get out, at some point you're going to catch on, I don't want to fall in. But I do. No, you don't if you pay more attention. Right? If when you start getting near the hole, you get a little conscious. Say, watch your step. I don't want to go fall in that hole. Take hours and hours to get out. That's what you would do, wouldn't you? You wouldn't walk as close, and if you had to go close for some reason, you'd be very, very careful. It's exactly the same inside yourself. There are holes in there, aren't there, that get triggered and you fall into them, and they're pretty strong patterns, aren't they? That you find yourself cyclically getting angry, getting depressed, or getting this, or getting that, getting jealous, whatever. You know where they are too, because you've had them in there for a long time. Anytime a situation is unfolding in front of you at a distance, and it smells a little bit like it could cause a hole, wake up. Pay attention. Just like you would when you're walking around something that's cautious, that you'll be cautious about. Pay attention. There is nothing higher you can do in your life than stay present. Of what good are you if you're not present? It doesn't do any good to lose your temper. It doesn't do any good to yell at somebody. It doesn't do any good to have fits and rages or depressions. Nothing. So you sit there and say, I don't want to do that anymore. Doesn't mean you won't, but you have an intention. That's your, Buddhists call it your intention. My intention is I'm not falling in those holes in there anymore. So if you get near a situation where it starts to feel like that, sit up, pay attention inside, watch it, watch your actions, watch your words, watch how close you're walking to something. And if you think you're going to start to fall, walk away. Walk away, walk away. Master used to say it. It is better that an act of will is what you ended up doing instead of you lose your center. You're supposed to always be present. Like if you're driving your car, you're supposed to be paying attention to what's going on. Come on, I realize you might look to the side of the phone for a second, but generally you pay attention. If something happens that makes you scared when you're driving your car, don't throw your hands up in the air and jump in the back seat and cover your eyes. That's the worst thing you could possibly do, isn't it? It's the same thing inside. Don't ever lose your center. Now, what does that mean? It means I work. If something's happening, I pay attention. I watch it. If I need to walk away, I walk away. If I need to breathe deeper, then let it pass by. And you're going to find that little by little, you don't lose it anymore because you worked on keeping your center. Now, does meditation help? Of course it helps. If you meditate, you are practicing being there. That's what it is. You're practicing being present, even though your mind's talking and the emotions are doing something. You follow your breath. Count. Do something willful. I'm telling you that if you start to get in a situation where you usually get depressed or get upset or you get down on yourself, instead start counting. 1, 2, 3. Why? Because it's better than going with the other pattern. You are better off putting your consciousness on counting or a mantra than you are letting your consciousness get pulled down into the hole. It's all very functional. So yes, you can do practices, but I want you to know why you do them. Because you don't want to be run by those secondary explosions. It's very messy in there. You can clean up. And so now what happens? You let go of the new ones, and then by themselves, the old ones will come back up. And now that you learned how to deal with the new ones, you'll know better how to deal with the old ones. Eventually, it's always the same. You're always letting go. You're sitting here in the seat of consciousness, letting go of what's happening below you. Just relaxing and releasing, relaxing and releasing. And you're going to find out eventually you don't ever leave. You won't ever leave. Not a single second for the rest of your life. You'll always be there, capable of making good decisions, capable of being clear, capable of being compassionate, capable of giving, even though something inside you is freaking out. You'll be a high being. That's a high being because of where you sit. You sit inside. And eventually this mess inside will fall away. It sheds like a snake, like the skin off a snake. You don't rip it off. It just naturally falls off because you're not giving into it. If you're able to let go of the stuff you stored in there, it won't be in there. And you'll find that even your 6-year-old event with the bicycle will come back up. And you'll be able to just, come on, let it go. 30, 50 years. It's all of a sudden, it's not in there anymore. That's what I want for you. And when the stuff's not in there anymore, what's going to be left is joy, beauty, love, ecstasy, enthusiasm. That's what's in there when you don't store the garbage in there. So that's your spiritual path. You work on yourself. You are capable of doing this. The outside world is not under your control. The inside world is 100% under your control. If you're filled with love and joy and enthusiasm and passion and appreciation for what's unfolding in front of you, what do you care what's unfolding in front of you? And I promise you what will happen is because you're doing so well inside, you'll end up doing really well outside. That's what happens. Because you're clear. You bring clarity into every moment where you interact. Very good. Work on these things. Work on yourself. Jagrata.